Hi again, welcome to tutorial 02. Make sure that the HTC VIVE is connected to your computer and that SteamVR is running properly. So click here on SteamVR and there you see everything is turned on except the controllers. So let me turn on the controllers and they should appear in a second. Or not. There they are. Okay. Double click on the Unity 543 editor VR here in the right corner, and as we are in tutorial 02, click here on 02 Unity VRTK plugin HTC VIVE, and Unity will open the project. So here we are in Unity, and this is a little bit different from tutorial 01, as we are now not running in this building scene. We are going into the play mode, and that means that we can manipulate those objects. So go here to scenes, introduction scene, make a double click, and it should be the scene already here. And let's just go into the scene, and I will describe you a few things about this. So click here on the play button, and now give me just 1 second to turn on my HTC VIVE headset. So now I'm in the scene. The scene looks a little bit different than tutorial 01, as I said already. The navigation is a little bit different. You can teleport yourself as well by hitting the touch controls, just round ones with your thumb, and the laser pointer will show up so you can beam on those objects. And as I'm now on this object, I can move a few steps back, and you notice that I'm not falling on the ground, so I'm staying on the same exact plane. So when I want to go down, I have to laser point again on this floor. So we can now interact with objects, and we have some different objects here, because now the objects have they are assigned with components like gravity and colliders. So you can grab objects with your index finger or middle finger by clicking the grab button and holding it, and when you leave it, they will fall down. So this is gravity, and there's also collision assigned to the object. So when I throw them to this, you see how they collide with each other. So I can build up a tower, and when I'm not doing this properly, the tower will fall down like this. And we have some different style of colliders, which I will explain you later on when I'm out of the VR scene. So I can throw things here Or for example, I can just pick up this guy and put it into this one. And you're able now to work more in a way with physical properties. So you see that everything is more like in reality, and I can throw it against this, but I can also throw it through here, and those are all Rhino objects. This object, for example, is not assigned with any components, so I cannot grab it, I cannot point to it, so I cannot, you see the laser pointer is not pointing on it like it's doing on the floor, so I can go into it, and you're noticing that this transparency cube is not showing up because of the normal surface, which I will explain you in the Rhino import-export tutorial. But let's go to see what we can do here, or what you can do here. Let's go into this Lightroom. So I'm teleporting myself into here, and we're now in the Lightroom. We have a different set of flashlights here. For example, this flashlight is assigned with a collider, but without gravity, so when I'm leaving it, it will stay exactly where it is. And as I cannot move myself now on the Y position, I can simply teleport myself onto this object, grab it again, point it higher, then I'm teleporting back down, back up on it, and I can also teleport now to the floor. And you see how you can light up models. This Buddha is also in mesh import from Rhino, and you can assign also, we have a few flashlights here, you can assign them also with, you see how the shadow is working, you can assign them also with some gravity, some strange gravity, like you're in space. Like you see, they're not staying in the position and they don't have the gravity, they will not fall down. You can throw them and do some disco time. And here, for example, let's grab this guy to make the light here. We go down, and here we have also no gravity but colliders, so I cannot put the object through this object. It's like docking to it, and those red ones have gravity, so they will fall down. You can place them here and hope that they will not fall down. Or this huge ball, I can grab it, teleport myself on this one here, and you see how it will fall down here. So yeah, you can interact here with objects that you imported in Unity, but let's go out of VR, because I will show you up a few settings that how you can import models and stuff, and how you can assign colliders and gravity to objects so that you can work or build things here in a different way, or how you can get some more lights. You can light up scenes in a different way. You can create point lights, spotlights, whatever you want. So I took off my headset and I'm still in the game mode. So you can see here on this play button that it's blue highlighted. That means you're still in the play mode. And you can change here from game to scene. And for example, I built up this little tower in the game mode, and when I click play again, it will leave the game mode, and all those guys will go back into their first position, how they were built actually here in Unity. So what you have to do to save your built up scene is just simply click on the object, click on one of the objects, and if you have them arranged in a group here, like here it is this group, all of those objects, you simply click Ctrl C for copy, and then just leave the game mode, and you see everything is back on its old position. And now delete this group and click Ctrl V for paste, and there is your scene. And now you can go to File, Save Scene As, go to Scenes and say VR Tower, save. And when we go now to scenes back here and go back to introduction scene, you see this is the initial scene, and VR Tower is what we have built in VR. Okay, so about gravity and colliders. Here on the left side you have every single object, and it makes sense that you have them properly in groups, because for example this tetrahedron red group, you just saw how easily you can copy paste your changes. Let's go through an example workflow. So you want to import your 3D Rhino objects, for example, into the scene. Then just go here on the left side to Assets, 3D Import Models, and here are your Rhino models. How you can get your Rhino models here into it, I will explain it to you in another tutorial. But if you have them now here, you can click on them and go here to Inspector, and you have a little preview here in this right corner where you can see your objects already. So Lightroom, this is the whole Lightroom done in Rhino, and the bridge in the Lightroom, or the tetrahedron. So just grab it into here, and it should be on the inspector here on the right side on the position 000, and you can use the gumball to put it now somewhere else. And if you want to interact with this object in VR, as I did, you need to add a few components to it. So open the object here directly, object 1, and here you see the material is from Rhino directly. You can also find the materials here in materials folder, and I click back on it, object 1, connector 3 material. So connector 3 material is here, and in the inspector you can change a few settings like metallic effect, the smoothness, and it will affect all objects that are assigned with this material. So you can play around with it a little bit and do as well some other colors, whatever you want. But now let's just click again on object 1 and add a few things. So the most important is the collider. So add component and type in mesh collider, and it will appear here already. So click on it, and you see on mesh, this is object 1. When you click on this, you see here it's object 1, and it's exactly the mesh which will assign to this object. So once you've done this, you need to hit them as convex, and this is all. When you now enter the game mode, the object will stay on its position and you can throw things against it. You can still not move it around, we have to attach some other scripts to it, but you can you can just laser point to it on its position or throw things against it, that's all. But when we click to object 1 again and add the component rigidbody, this will actually simulate gravity. So you can turn gravity on or off, or kinematic, and then you will see the space mode that the things will fly around. Just play around with it and see what you can do with it. But we still need to add 3 other components to this one to make it work in VR. So the first one is, again, click add component and type in interact, and here choose the interactable object script. Then add component and type in fixed, and here is the fixed joint grab, and again add component and type in swap, swap controller grab. So those two we have to put them here in grab attach, and this guy we have to put him in here, and here you have to choose is grabbable. So that's all. Now this object is assigned with a few components, and when we hit play they will start work. So I can now turn on the headset and work with it, but I can also go into scene, and you notice this guy is now on the floor. So leave play mode, click on play again, and it's back on its position where you've placed it. And yeah, in this way you can just simply load in your Rhino models and add to them a few scripts. You can also use this scene and just say, for example, here copy component, then for example you go to your object and then say here paste component as new, if you don't want to type it in here as add component. Let me just show you something about the lights in this light room. This component, this flashlight, it's actually in this group, and it's consisting out of a few colliders and other components. So it's this cylinder, and attached to the cylinder is the sphere, and attached to the sphere is a spotlight. So you can move everything manually and control this spotlight in a different ways. You have some shadow options, color, and stuff like that. But basically make sure that everything is in this group. So when you hit the flashlight fixed, you can move the whole thing, and also the components are just attached. Capsule collider, mesh renderer, swap controller. It's all just attached to this one object. So the sphere has nothing in, and the spotlight too. So when you grab it, it will grab automatically everything which is in this group now. And yeah, one special thing about the colliders is that, for example, here it was quite easy to put on a collider because this object is convex. And if you have objects with holes in it, it's getting a little bit complicated. Load in another 3D object from Rhino like this. Then you get problems with the colliders because it has some holes in it. This one not, and this one not too, but I can just show you what Unity is doing when you put on the mesh collider on it. So we got this object, and I just want to add a mesh collider and the mesh collider is exactly the same size or shape like the object, but when I click convex, you see here those green lines. So he's looking for the shortest way, and unfortunately every object has to be convex if you want to use it in the play mode. So that means for this guy, for example, when I import this one and add the component mesh collider, and here you click on convex, he will just simply close the holes, so you cannot throw anything through it. So what you have to do in this case is to build your own few colliders like I did here. That means this object has here a lot of colliders, and they can for example hit each other. That's not a problem as long as they are in this group of the object, but you see you can just do it in this way to make things like that work. There are a few tricks, like you can also do it in a faster way, like let's delete this collider, remove component, and we go to component, Ultimate Game Tools, Colliders, Concave Collider. So you see there is now a script attached. When you open the script here, the preview, go to Algorithm Legacy and Compute Holds. You will do something like this. And this works maybe fine with more complex geometries where you don't have to be very accurate. But when you want to model something like this and put those guys into these holes, then this will disturb you. And you see here now under this object he did a lot of colliders, a lot of different ones. So it's easier to do it like here, where you have, when you open this object, box compound collider, and you have here a few of cubes. So basically there are just 3 cubes representing the colliders of this object, and now the object can collide.